All right, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Discussions with Coach David. Today we have a special guest, Caloni Michelle. How are you doing, Kalani?
I am great, David. How are you?
Good. I am doing good. Thanks for asking. So you guys check this out. Today we are talking about how does personal development shape you as an entrepreneur. You guys know I'm all about personal development, and Kalani and I actually recently just connected, hopped on the phone, and she's all about personal development too, and she's an expert. So I figure why not bring her on and just share how that's really helped shape her as an entrepreneur and what it means. So Kalani, can just for our audience, can you just do an introduction of like who you are and what you do?
Sure. So I do online business coaching. I coach coaches essentially, and I help them grow their online businesses so they can get to a point where they can quit their 9 to 5. And so, was your other question, why is personal development important?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Oh, this has been a long journey. Personal. I think that I started personal development probably, I would say around the age of maybe 17, so about 13 years ago. I remember working at this really nice restaurant, and growing up, we were poor, we didn't have any money, and I was never taught how to improve my life or what I could do to improve myself, and how I could really get to that point. And I always thought that it was education that would get me to where I wanted to be in life. But little did I know that it was so much more internal than that, and just, getting a certificate or a piece of paper. It was me working on myself, trying to figure out how I could become a better person, how I could change the mentality that I was raised with toward money, toward successful people, toward just being a better person in life. And so I was working at this really nice restaurant, and we had multiple six-figure earners coming in all the time. We had seven-figure earners coming in, and they were really good people. And I thought, like, they're not so bad. Like, why did I have this mentality growing up like that? And not just that, like, how can I be like them? How could I live a life that didn't seem so stressful? How can I take responsibility for my actions and make a better future of myself? And so it really started back then when I was surrounded with people because of my job, but people who I really started to love, people who really kind of adopted me as a daughter and were showing me the ropes on how I could improve my life. And so that's really where it started.
Wow. So in a restaurant, you saw just the individuals making the six and seven
Mhm.
figures and
Mhm.
just kind of realizing like they are good people and they don't have that stigma that a lot of people might have. One thing I heard you say, Kalani, which I thought was really interesting, was you thought it would be education that would get you where you want to go, but it was actually a lot of the internal part.
Mhm.
Can you share just like what the difference is between the two of them?
I finished my MBA back in 2014, and a couple months after I finished it, it was like it was a weird moment for me because I thought by the time that I had finished my master's degree, which was a lifelong goal, that I would have a prestigious title, that I would be living in a fancy house, that I would be driving a fancy car, that I'd be married, that I'd have kids. And yes, I'm married, but I don't live in a huge fancy house. I don't have that prestigious title. I don't want that prestigious title at this point in my life. And the difference between that is, like, it was like this identity crisis. Like, who am I? My story ended. That this goal that I set for myself, like, I've accomplished it. What now? What next? So on personal development, though, it's like you're constantly improving, and no matter how many books you read, no matter how many seminars you go to or podcasts you listen to or mentors that you seek, it's like you can never learn enough. And even say if you read a book, you forget some of that information, but then if you reread it the next year, it's like, oh, aha, like this is exactly why I'm on that path. It's this like thirst for knowledge to be better as an entrepreneur, to be able to show up in the world and show my purpose and share that with other people, to be able to create a life for myself where I don't have to clock in and clock out every day, where I don't have to report to anyone, where I don't have to request time off from anyone. And so with personal development, I mean, education is great. It gives you that knowledge, but with personal development, it's like you can never stop. Like
Yeah.
there's no end game to it.
Are you there?
Yeah, I think we froze for a second, but I'm here.
So I want to take this just a couple of ways. One, just learning more about like what helped you really dive into becoming an entrepreneur, and then also how personal development has showed up for you in your business that's helped your business really thrive and build that business you want to help other coaches build that thriving business. So when you were at that restaurant and you saw these individuals with the 6 figures, 7 figures coming in, you had a mindset shift. Like what caused you, Caloni, to be like, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to be an entrepreneur.
Well, so when I was 17, I never thought that I would be an entrepreneur. My dad was a very struggling entrepreneur. We didn't have much money. So I never in my wildest dreams thought that I would be an entrepreneur. It wasn't until 2011 when my husband and I moved to Arizona. It was just a new place. And I started kind of dabbling in a few different things. And throughout grad school, I spent about 1.5 years working on the sportswear line that I really wanted to launch. And I was scared to go all in. Like I would go all in time, but I would never go all in money. When they were quoting me $100,000 to manufacture this line that I had already prototyped, I'm like, it was just very scary for me. And so it was from 2011 to really 2017. It was a 6-year journey where I just wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't satisfied. There was something about working in the corporate world that wasn't for me. And it's for a lot of people. And the corporate world does a lot of great things. It puts food on the table for families. It gives them that security, that health insurance and all those things. But for me, I was never satisfied. So I didn't think I'd be an entrepreneur until, this year I finally was like, you know what? I think I found my purpose. Like I found a way that I can help people and I absolutely love it. I can make that impact in the world that I really want to make. And I can personally see the lives that I'm changing. And so I never thought that I would be one. It just kind of happened over time and working in the corporate world that I noticed that it just really wasn't for me. It wasn't a way that I could share my purpose with the world and impact people.
One thing I just love about that story is that like you wanted to get out of that 9-to-5 and you really did take that jump because you just weren't fulfilled. You weren't fulfilled in your corporate job. And so you made the jump and now you're helping others do the same thing. I find that kind of cool. You're helping them do what you wanted to do so they can run their own business, have the freedom and honestly be more fulfilled themselves.
Yeah.
So Caloni, like what does personal development mean to you?
Oh, that's a good question. Just constantly trying to improve who I am. There's so many different routes that you can go, whether you want to work on, a lot of it's mindset. A lot of it's the way that you view circumstances that have happened, the way that you view the future, the way that you view other people, the way that you view money. So what was your question again?
So just, what is personal development to you? Like when you think of personal development, what is like,
constantly seeking ways that I can improve myself as a person, as an entrepreneur, and trying to constantly get better, to show up with integrity, and just seeking, whether it's podcasts or audiobooks or books or connecting with people like you, David, or going to seminars. There's so many different things. So it's that constant improvement to be something more in your life.
Yeah, it's like the Tony Robbins quote. It's constant and never-ending improvement. Right?
Hey, that is spot on.
So there's so many ways to personally develop, right? You can hire a coach like myself and you, right? Like hiring a coach to see from the outside in, to help personally develop. You can do podcasting, you can listen to podcasts, you can read books, you can go to seminars. There's so much you can really do to change the way you're looking at things in your mindset. So what are some things that you do that help you grow personally?
Probably the two main things that I do at this point in my life are podcasts and audiobooks. And because I'm so busy working during the day and trying to, working on the computer, I don't have all that much time to sit down and read a book. But I really love reading books, and so in turn, I listen to it on the audio. So whether I'm driving, whether I'm mountain biking, because I have trails like 500 feet from my house, instead of putting music on, literally when I'm doing cardio, I put on a podcast or an audiobook.
That's perfect. I love that though. See, audiobooks are like the new go-to, right?
Yeah. The only thing is I have like 10, depending on my mood, that I haven't gotten through at the moment. So I'm like, if I want to learn something that, something that Tony Robbins book, let me pull up that one. Or, Elon Musk, let's listen to his biography now. And so it just kind of depends on my mood.
Yeah. So when you're reading and listening to these podcasts and just listening to the audiobooks, I know you talked about mindset. So what does it mean to you? Because that's part of personal development and being an entrepreneur, having the right mindset of just being able to go through the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs, the struggles, the failures, and keeping the right mindset to move forward. So, like what does like having like a rock star mindset mean to you?
Gosh, I feel like there's a few things that come into it. So one, it's the mindset of me believing in myself 110%, because there have been multiple years where I didn't believe in myself in terms of on the entrepreneurial side. I didn't believe in myself that I had it in me or that I was capable of doing these things. And so it's that, it's believing in myself, but it's not just that. It's realizing that I can change my mindset, that I can, if I just make those internal tweaks, that I can be something else, that I can do something else with my life. And the funny thing is probably since I was 17, I probably didn't realize how important mindset was until I would say the last year, when I've really been working with clients and seeing the mindset struggles that they go through, and then talking to other coaches and realizing so much of hiring a coach isn't necessarily say maybe the courses that they provide. It's that mindset work. It's believing in them more than they can believe in themselves. So it's just adjusting that mindset helps tremendously.
Yeah, that's a solid point, because a lot of times just when I meet with clients and I work with self-employed entrepreneurs that have been in less than 5 years and help them break through the 6-figure mark, so many times they know exactly what they need to do. They know what they need to do. They're just not being consistent. They're not using the strategies. They're not trusting themselves because they don't have the confidence. And I think a lot of that starts internally. Like, How do you have that unshakable confidence? How do you stay consistent in your business, knowing that you're doing the right things, trusting your gut, trusting yourself, but having the right mindset? So what little tweaks, how do you keep making these little tweaks within yourself and like reflect?
Sure. The big tweaks, because as coaches, we need coaches, right? Yeah. And not just do we need coaches, we need maybe even a mastermind group. We need friends or people that understand and get us where we are in our business. And so, like for me, there's sometimes where I get in my head, right? And I need to talk to my coach and say, hey, I'm struggling with this. How can I overcome this limiting belief? What do I need to do? And as an entrepreneur, I mean, it's like this, no one's teaching us how to do this. Our coaches can give us guidance, but ultimately the decisions are up to us. So we need to pave our own road. We have to figure these things out for ourselves. And so I'm constantly either A, going to one of my coaches, or B, connecting with people that I've met on social media or even here locally that, and we've just created this bond because we know where we are in our lives and our businesses. And so we can really help feed each other good information and really boost each other up to keep going.
Yeah. I love that. So Caloni, just regarding personal development and entrepreneurship and just how it helps, an entrepreneur develop, what's on your heart right now that you just want to share with the audience?
Sure. Gosh, just constantly try to improve yourself, whether it's through reading biographies or reading something motivational or going to conferences, connecting with people, sending random people a message. I don't know, David, did I send you a message or you sent me a message?
You actually sent me a message, yeah.
That's totally how I am. And it's funny because some people don't take well to that. But because I'm just outgoing in that sense, I will totally send you a message. But in terms of personal development, though, just constantly seek people who can lift you up, who understand your journey, who understand where you're at, and who can give you the right advice that you need. Because if you seek people that don't seek advice from people that don't know where you are, they're not going to be able to give you the advice that you need to move forward. And I think you wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, no, totally. Because I think when you're talking about asking the right people for advice, a hard lesson I had to learn was stop asking the wrong people for the right advice that you're looking for. Like, don't go ask your best friend or your good friends or even your family members about business if they don't have the exact same vision or aren't already there. Yeah. They're and it's all love to them, but like asking the right people for the right advice, or else they're not trying to hold you back, but one thing, Mr. Rock Thomas, awesome guy. If you guys don't know who that is, check him out. Rock Thomas talks about, and I'm sure others do too, just your friends are comfortable where you're at, and your mentors and coaches are comfortable with your future.
Yes.
So if you're asking your friends where you're comfortable, everyone around you where you're at, and you're asking them for advice, that advice really is invaluable. Now, if you're asking the mentors and coaches that see you bigger than you are, then that is really crucial.
Yeah. And you know what, David, on top of that, there have been times, even say throughout the last year, I would maybe go to a friend who isn't doing what I'm doing. They're not in this whole entrepreneur world. They're not pursuing self-development. And sometimes I would ask them, hey, like, what did you think of this piece of content? Or what do you think of this? And I would get feedback that I didn't hear because they're not my ideal client, or because they're not my coach and they don't understand the future that I'm trying to go to. So it's so important to make sure that you're seeking advice from the right people, or from people who are where or have been where you want to go.
100%. 100%. And one of my other favorite quotes is like, your personal development will never exceed your profit. So everyone wants to build a bigger business. Every entrepreneur could use some more money, right? Heck, I could use some more money. We always can. So with that being said, though, it's just interesting. It's just like, so this is such a perfect topic because I don't think enough entrepreneurs put enough time into personally developing. Like, 4 to 6 hours a week at least into just personal growth, not your strategy in your business. None of that. Matter of fact, I have a conference, Caloni, that's launching in January, where there's 25 just high-level experts, and just one of them mentioned how she doubled her income because she hired a coach, and she went and she just wanted the answers. She just wanted the answers, but she hired a coach, and the coach obviously is a coach. She's not just going to give her answers, and was really pressing hard on personal development. And she said she doubled her income that year, not by changing her strategy or any of that, but just like by personally growing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important. And you know what, David, is I would give up a couple clients a week just so that I have that time for myself, that time to become a better person, because I think that far outweighs the income that you can bring in. I mean, if one can afford it, but for me, I mean, I make sure that I allot that time that I can either listen to podcasts or audiobooks or watch even YouTube videos, go to seminars, so that I'm making sure that I'm progressing in my life, because I feel if I'm not progressing, how can I help other people really progress also? Because if I'm here, but I'm not trying to get here, I can only bring people up to where I am. But I want to keep growing so I can keep bringing clients with me along that path.
Yeah, it's walking the talk. A lot of that, right? Like staying true to what you believe too. And honestly, that shows through your coaching. And I know you know that, when you're coaching with clients, it's just being true to yourself.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, is there anything else that you want to add today just on personal development, entrepreneurship?
I think we touched on it. Just don't stop. Keep trying to be the best person and entrepreneur. And even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, just keep seeking ways that you can change your mindset, and you can level up to become a better person in your life to show up for people.
Yep. You guys heard it. Well, hey, if you like this message, go to Caloni, follow her. She is awesome. And for those of you that join that may not know who I am, I'm your coach, David, helping self-employed entrepreneurs that have been in less than 5 years, that feel like their business should be farther than it is, and help them break through 6 figures. So join us tomorrow morning and every day for discussions with Coach David every single morning, with business content, personal development content, just like today, personal development. And share out this video, because share this video out to all the entrepreneur friends that you have, all the solopreneurs that you know. Better yet, just anybody in your Facebook community that could really use more of personal development, because it doesn't only relate to business, but it relates to relationships and just your whole being. So thank you so much, Caloni, for coming on today. Appreciate it.
All right. Keep rocking it, David. You're doing a great job.
Thanks, Caloni. You too. Take care.